Welcome to the morning after week 5 of 2015. This is the Going Deep edition. This week, I'll kind of cut out some of the features. We probably won't do a top free agent pickup or some of the other things. No Griff's Gripe this week because it's kind of going to be a long show, so I'll try to wrap it up as quick as I can. So we'll get to the action right away, and we'll check and see what's happening in the league this week. The Cardinals got back on the winning streak this week as they beat the Badgers 89.5 to 46. The Cardinals did pull out their fourth High Point win this year already out of 5 weeks, so a good run. Doug Martin helped them with 26.5 points. Carson Palmer for the Badgers did have 15 in a losing effort. The Bucks get their second win of the year, and also the second highest scoring team. They just had some bad luck. They took down the Kongs 75.5 to 62.5. Tyrod Taylor and Tyler Eifert led the Bucks with 32 points combined. Steven Gostkowski had 15 points for the Kongs in a losing effort. Bone Storm took down Team Price is Right as they break their streak of bad and good. This has been 2 good weeks in a row for the Bone Storm as Devontae Freeman had 16.5 points. Drew Brees had 15.5 points for Team Price is Right as they fall to 2-3. Upset of the week, and a very minor upset, as the Gargoyles were only favored by 2.2 points. They fell to the Black Dingoes 58.5 to 35.5. For the Gargoyles, it was a rough week as besides Sam Bradford, the rest of the players, the other 8 players combined for 20 points. Aaron Rodgers for the Black Dingoes had 14 points, although this was a Pyrrhic victory for the Dingoes as Jamal Charles is out for the year. Also this week we saw the Horndogs take down the Bruisers. Horndogs break them up. They got their first win of the year. They moved to 1-4 now. The champs finally get off the schneid, 69 to 52. Take down the Bruisers, who were led by Brandon McManus again with 12 points. Vinatieri and the Denver defense and special teams combined for 24 points for the Horndogs, helped them get on the winning streak now with 1 win. And also we saw this week the Garbage Men take down the Little Big Men 72 to 44. Gary Barnage had 13.5 points. In case you're wondering, that is a tight end for the Browns. But heck of a signing there by the Garbage Men. Team LBM had no players in double figures as they are currently struggling right now waiting for Des Bryant to come back, which might be in week 7. Still up in the air. So that can't come soon enough for the LBM. Now we'll head into the player of the week, which is the only thing we'll do. This one had to give to Doug Martin, who returned to fantasy relevance after a couple years of being completely barely rosterable. Running back 3, running back 4. 3 touchdowns, 123 yards rushing, 35 yards receiving, and 26.5 points. So a really good week for Doug Martin this week. Next week, we will take a look at the games next week. The Dingoes take on the Bruisers, 3-2 teams battling it out. Battle of 2 playoff teams currently. Both of them do have currently injured running backs, although I don't think Jamal Charles will last on the Dingoes past this week. Also follow me on Twitter at Chris Weber TRS. I do live tweet during the Buccaneer games on Sunday, and I do write for the Runner Sport, so check those out. We'll get right away now into the Going Deep segment, taking at each team and where their strengths and needs lie. First of all, we'll start with the Gargoyles. Big need, still quarterback. Big Ben is out until at least week 7 or 8. Sam Bradford is playing a little better, so maybe it's not as bad as it seems. His depth, though, is at running back. He's got Lamar Miller, he's got Chris Ivory, and he's got Carlos Williams, along with Eddie Lacy. So he's not too bad there. Williams is out right now. Thing is, with a lot of these teams that we'll be going into, not many have a whole lot of depth. There's just not a whole lot to trade this year. It seems like it's a pretty shallow league. But, there'll be some trades made here in the next couple weeks before the trade deadline. But just as a disclaimer, there really isn't a ton of depth for most teams. Team Price is Right. Their need is receiver. Currently, and I've told Tim this, really good running backs on the team, but possibly the worst receiving core we've ever had in the league. Currently led by Kendall Wright, Leonard Hankerson, and Charles Clay. That's the 1, 2, and 3 on the team. Depth, he's loaded at running back. Peterson, Carlos Hyde, LaShawn McCoy, Darren McFadden, and Arian Foster. Quarterbacks also pretty deep. Drew Brees, Ryan Tannehill, Marcus Mariota. So lots of guys to trade there for any sort of receiving depth would be helpful for him. Little big men, Needs running backs right now. Randall's been okay. He's had a couple of really good games, and at least he gets the majority of the carries in Dallas. And Amir Abdullah's been a flop so far. He really seems to have fallen out of favor in Detroit, even though after having that one really good preseason game. So something the little big men will probably need to address. Depth, he does have a lot of injured receivers who should be coming back soon. Dez, Martavis Bryant, and LaFell, who should be back soon. He probably, I don't know how much ability he's going to have to trade or just hope that those injured receivers can carry his running backs. But we'll see what the little big men do. Their season is quickly fading away. A couple more losses, and it'll be tough to rebound. Bernie's Bruisers. A need right now is probably at the second receiver. Ruben Randall and John Brown are there. Ruben Randall did get hurt, I guess, in the Sunday game. Don't know how bad. Needs also Marshawn to get healthy. Depth, he does have some quarterback depth in Andy Dalton and Matt Ryan. And running back, when Marshawn's back, it's not too bad with Ryan Matthews and Danny Woodhead and Mark Ingram also there. So not bad. Definitely could move somebody there to improve his receiving talent. The Bucs needs probably either a flex or a running back too. Ellington and Yeldon are there. Solid as a flex or one of them, but he probably could use another player in there. Yeldon did get nicked up. Don't know how long it's going to be this week. And also quarterbacks Tyrod Taylor, who right now at this point hasn't been bad, but he did take a long time to get his first completion this week. I have him in the other league, and I think it was in the second quarter, midway through the second quarter, that he completed his first pass. He ended up doing okay, but it's still concerning. Bills' offense is not really that good, but you never know. And he does run for a lot of yards, so he's a solid enough quarterback. Depth, he does have some depth at receiver with Cobb, Tyler Eifert, Greg Olsen, and Alshon Jeffrey, although Jeffrey is still injured all the way from the preseason. The Dingoes, their needs are receiver 2. Antonio Gates, Percy Harvin, Jason Witten, all probably better 3s/flexes, although Gates did score twice last night. Depth, he has a lot of depth at running back. I did this preparation stuff on Sunday, so that's why Jamal Charles is listed. Otherwise, it's Todd Gurley, Gio Bernard, Ronnie Hillman, and Alfred Morris. And as you can guess, this week, the top 2 free agent pickups, although I don't officially have a presentation on it, will most likely be the Chiefs running backs, who I cut one of them last week, although he's not supposed to be the main guy. But those 2 will probably be the top pickups this week. But still, not bad running back depth there. One of them probably could be moved to help at receiver. Bone Stormer next. Flex position's a little weak. Right now it's Jonathan Stewart and C.J. Anderson. Anderson has been terrible this year. A little surprisingly, the whole Denver offense is a little struggling right now, and Stewart is good for 1.5 to 2.5 points a week. Depth at the same time is okay there. I mean, if you have faith that Stewart or Anderson are going to come back, that's some depth. And then Forsett and Freeman, who's been amazing this year, are also there. Bites' Badgers are up next. Needs running back probably at this point. Jeremy Hill either has 3 touchdowns or 30 yards. Rashad Jennings, depends who the Giants running back is that week, who they choose. Charles Sims might be the most consistent, and then he gets all the pass catches for Tampa and also gets a decent amount of running yards. And C.J. Spiller, who knows what the Saints are going to do. So definitely could use a better running back there unless Jeremy Hill comes around, which is still a big possibility. Depth, he's got a lot of receivers. Jarvis Landry, Pierre Garçon, Amari Cooper, Jordan Matthews, A.J. Green. Really some good talent there at receiver, all the way from a number 1 to a 2 to a 3, and a couple guys who are, wide receiver 4 flexes. So tons of receiving depth there. Chet's Garbage Men needs, amazingly, as at quarterback, Peyton Manning has been bad this year. I think he's like the 17th rated quarterback at this point. Cutler hasn't been any better. Wide receiver 3 right now is Deshaun Jackson and the aforementioned Gary Barnidge. Deshaun's still hurt. It could be something that you could improve on. Once Deshaun's back, I'm sure it'll be fine if he comes back healthy. Something he could use an improvement on. Depth, not great running backs by any stretch of the imagination, but flex guys, the Cleveland backs and Kroll and Duke Johnson. LeGarrette Blount's pretty solid. Antonio Andrews, if you have to have a Tennessee running back, that is probably the guy to have. And then DeMarco Murray should eventually come around. So he does have something there to, maybe move for a quarterback. Who knows down the road. The Horndogs, they also need a quarterback. Matt Stafford, Jameis Winston. Stafford was benched during the game. Tampa tries to run the ball to kind of minimize the pressure on him. So it's something that could be improved on. He also has depth at receiver with Demarius, Manuel Sanders, Sammy Watkins when he comes back, Antonio Brown, and Willie Snead, who amazingly is the Saints' #1 receiver this year. But, maybe an improvement there at quarterback could put the Horndogs, keep them on the winning track. DK's Kongs were a hard team. There wasn't any really glaring needs and not a whole lot of depth anywhere. Russell Wilson will probably come around and be a little more productive, but right now he has not been very effective fantasy-wise this year. I mean, you would think he'd be better with Jimmy Graham, but so far not the case. Also then at wide receiver 1, he's got Brandon Cooks, Golden Tate, Dante Moncrief, Eric Decker, and Vincent Jackson, all, 2/ wide receiver 4s. A lot of good receivers, but just not any superstars. And a little bit of a question at running back with Matt Forte has been very good, but Melvin Gordon has been a disappointment. Depth was receiver depth, like I said. There's a lot of good receivers there. And finally, the Chris's Cardinals needs are running back depth. There is really no depth on my team at running back. Andre Williams and Matt Jones will be starting this week, most likely, if Marshawn Lynch is back, as assumed. And Matt Jones is questionable. Putting faith in the Giants' running game is scary, especially with Andre Williams. Depth, there is receiving depth there. Beyond the big three of Gronk, Julio Jones, and Larry Fitzgerald. Devontae Adams, if and when he comes back, has the potential to be a pretty good receiver. Steve Smith is supposed to be back this week. He's a really good #3 receiver, low-end wide receiver 2, probably wide receiver 2, but questionable how much pain he can tolerate. Terrence Williams has played okay this year. Dez coming back, though, sooner than later. His value probably isn't as high. And Ted Ginn actually has been a touchdown machine this year, but not a whole lot to speak of there, but maybe enough to get a running back. Who knows? So looks like that's a look at where teams stand right now. Again, there isn't as much depth, I don't think, as in years past. Maybe I'm just remembering that way, though. But, I'm sure we'll see some trades coming up the next few weeks with the trade deadline not that far away. So that is it this week. Good luck to everyone. I play Griff this week. Griff, I really hope I beat you. I don't know if I can, though. That's going to be a hard one with those guys starting. I'm going to have to count on Gronk, Brady, Julio Jones, and Fitzgerald to step up. But at least it's a big 4. I have the rest of the team's going to be pretty bad. Maybe my kicker and defense can do something this week, too. But anyway, best of luck to everyone except you, Griff. And then we'll be back. I don't know if we'll be back next week or the week after, but we'll let you know. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week. Deuces.